Well, UFC Abu Dhabi happened. Robert Whittaker lost. I went 7-5 in picks, bringing my overall record to 195 and 97, I believe. So, yeah, Whittaker lost. You can make an argument that he won. First of all, anyone saying robbery doesn't like they need to just stop with that shit because to me the swing round is probably round four. I did think that Whitaker won round four. It was very close. I can see how it goes to DeRitter, so I'm not going to complain. DeRitter got the win, and what we're going to do is matchmake everyone on this card that I think is worthy of matchmaking, plain and simple. Um, yeah, Reinier DeRitter won a decision. He's a big name now. I have a couple thoughts on what you can do with Reinier DeRitter, and I'm going to explain it when I show you here. I think it's got to be Israel Adesanya at this point. I wanted to matchmake him against the loser of DDP versus Hamzat Chimaev, but the way I'm thinking about this is neither guys are fighting that frequently. Like DDP's making a 6 month turnaround, not bad, right? Before that, it was again another 6 month turnaround. Before that, it was an 8 month turnaround. So he's taken about 6 months in between fights. And if that would put Reinier DeRitter fighting again in January, and I think DeRitter is going to want to fight again before the end of the year. Hamzat fights once every 10 months, once a year. If Hamzat loses, and it would be against the loser of Hamzat versus DDP if I were to pick that, because he just doesn't get the title fight yet, because the winner of Imavov Baralho is going to get it. Unless it's Baralho, then maybe he needs one more, but I guess we'll see. If DDP loses, I think he gets a rematch against Chimaev. I really do think we're going to end up seeing a rematch, especially because I think it's going to be competitive. If DDP wins, listen, he's beating Izzy, Chimaev, Whitaker, Strickland twice. We're going to eventually want to see the DeRitter fight, but it's got to be the winner of Imavov. Like, if Imavov beats Baralho, then it's going to be that. And I was thinking maybe we do the loser of Baralho versus Imavov. If Baralho loses, which I think I'm picking Imavov when it gets to that point. But if Baralho loses, you're having DeRitter beat a number 6 ranked Kyle Baralho coming off a loss. It's hard to give him a title shot right off of that. And a Whitaker who's coming off a loss, and then a Bo Nickel who hadn't really fought anyone ranked before that. Like Paul Craig, sure, but like that doesn't really count. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm looking and I'm saying if Reinier DeRitter wants one more in a title shot, if he beats Israel Adesanya, I think that gives him the title shot after the Imavov win. And I think you can make this a big fight because DeRitter did take some damage. I say he takes about 4 or 5 months off. If he takes off until 2025, I'm sorry, until 2026, I just don't think he's looking for that. I think he's looking to come back around November MSG, and I think this is a great main card fight for MSG. This is a great main card fight for the pay-per-view in December. These are two main card guys, pay-per-view main card guys at this point. I think you do Reinier DeRitter versus Israel Adesanya on the main card of MSG would be sick. I'm going to make an MSG card builder too because that card is going to be fucking nuts, dude. I'm thinking it's Islam JDM. Volk versus Movzar I think might happen, guys. By the way, just saying. With them pulling Movzar off, I think that might happen. Then you have like, I don't know what you do. I don't know. You have this on the card. Like, there are other ones, but regardless, I think you do this as the main card on MSG. I know I've said that with a bunch of different fights so far, but this is more worthy than any of the fighters that were on UFC 318 to be the main card of MSG. So I say make this the main card. Feature fight, Reinier DeRitter, Israel Adesanya. It's a huge fight. Make that happen. Moving on, Robert Whittaker took an L. And I think that's, before I get into this again, I think this is a fight that Israel Adesanya will take. He wants only big names. We're not going to see the Strickland one because Strickland's suspended. It's going to take too long to fight DDP or Hamzat after. So who's next, right? Like Baralho Imavov? Again, I just don't think a Baralho, the loser. Like if Imavov loses, then it's like, okay, an Imavov fight would maybe make sense. But if Baralho loses, it doesn't make sense to me. So I say DeRitter versus Israel Adesanya is the one that makes sense to me. Moving on, Robert Whittaker lost. We're in a spot with Whittaker where he's kind of got to gatekeep a little bit now. You know what I mean? He's fought some extremely hard competition recently. De Ridder's a very, very talented fighter. I think he's a top middleweight. Hamzat's obviously a top middleweight. DDP's obviously a top middleweight. When you don't put him against the best of the best, he wins. He beat Adesanya in their second fight. He beat Vettori, beat Gastelum, beat Cannonier, but now he's going to have these other names that he hasn't fought yet, but I don't think it should be a Baral Hoimavov type fight. He's got to fight down a little bit more. I don't think Brendan Allen deserves it coming off one win, right? A couple guys that are fighting in 2 weeks that have a win streak going, I say it's the winner of Dolidze versus Hernandez, and I think I'm picking Dolidze in that one. I think Dolidze's submission game is very, very good, and Hernandez is going to want to get takedowns. That's how he wins fights. He melts you with takedowns. And if he strikes, I think Dolidze's got more power, and he's probably going to win in the striking. So I think it's a really bad matchup for Hernandez. I'm probably going to pick Dolidze, and I think this is a fight that Whittaker can go out there and win. I do. I think that Whittaker can go out there and get a win against Dolidze, get back on track, and then say, okay, like, it's, you know, it's the kind of fight he needs to take. You're going to want to use Whittaker to, like, put some respect on these other guys' names to say, oh, they fought a Robert Whittaker. If Dolidze wins, dude, he's coming off a couple wins in a row here against, who the fuck was it? It was Anthony Smith he beat, then he beat Kevin Holland, then he beat Marvin Vettori, and then he would have beaten Anthony Hernandez, so he deserves that kind of jump up a little bit. And if Hernandez wins, he's coming off wins against Brendan Allen and Roman Kopylov and Michel Pereira. And then it's like, okay, you deserve a Whittaker fight. So the winner of that deserves a Whittaker fight. And I think Whittaker can beat both those guys. So I think you do Whittaker versus the winner of Dolidze versus Hernandez, which I'm sneaky picking Dolidze. So I think that one would make sense. End of the year, fight night, main card worthy. I think Whittaker's going to want to get back in there. Because he's on a nice, dude, he gets paid good money, man. And if you're paying him good money, you got to give him the fights that, you know, you want to try and build someone off of a little bit, or have Whittaker be like, you almost a forgot moment. So I'm thinking Robert Whittaker versus Roman Dolidze or Anthony Hernandez, whoever wins the fight to make. Next up, I think it's enough time to give Petr Yan his title shot. If Sandhagen wins, they'll probably do a Merab rematch, honestly, or Merab will go up to 45. But I think Merab's going to win, and if Merab wins, it's like, if Merab wins and Pantoja wins, then it's like you should do Pantoja versus Merab. But if Van wins, then you're probably going to do a rematch there at flyweight, or Pantoja says, I want to keep doing work at flyweight. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I think Petr Yan's in a position where he deserves another title shot. He does. He fought against Merab and lost, right? But then he has a fight against O'Malley, which I think he won. He has a fight against Aljo, which he got DQ'd, which should have been a win, but he made a bad mistake because of his coaches. And then his other losses to Aljo in a very, very close competitive fight as well. The only guy he's really lost to bad is Merab. I think you give him that fight again. He's now coming off wins against Figueiredo, a top 6 ranked guy. Top 5 at the time, I think. Number 5 ranked. Song Yadong, another guy who was top ranked at the time. Another dangerous contender here up and coming. And Marcus McGee, he did you a favor and fought down in the rankings and wanted to stay active and gave you a co-main. I think you do Petr Yan versus Merab next. It makes sense. There's no one really else for Merab other than Pantoja, but we don't know what's going to happen there. So I think Petr Yan versus Merab is going to be the fight to make. So, yeah, we're going to move on. Marcus McGee lost to Petr Yan, but showed that he's got skill. I know I matched up Vinicius Oliveira with Chito Vera. I think this is a better matchup to make. These are two guys right next to each other in the rankings, 12 and 13, both very, fun fighters, good fighters. I think Marcus McGee's a lot more technical. I think that Vinicius Oliveira is more powerful, more crazy, bigger. I'd like to see how this fight goes. Because if you do Vinicius Oliveira versus Chito Vera, again, it's a good matchup. You're moving him up there quick, and he's got a lot of improvements to make. Marcus McGee, again, like the winner of this fight is not dropping out of the rankings. They're two names that are solid. This is one of those like fight night main card fights that everyone goes, oh hell yeah, dude, this is a sick one. And I think maybe you do Chito Vera versus a a different guy that you have up and coming. Maybe you just put him against Cejudo because Cejudo's going to want that fight. Or maybe you do him against you give Montel Jackson a chance, but you're really trying to keep Cheeto Vera up there. So you give him a fight that you think he can win. Um, something like that. I think Marcus McGee versus Vinicius Oliveira is a great fight to make. And I just don't know when Cheeto's coming back, dude. I can't trust him to like turn around and fight now. So Marcus McGee versus Vinicius Oliveira, great matchups too, like great scheduling timing. So I say that's the matchup to make. Fight night in November, main card, great fight. Shara Magomedov, no more layups. I know the UFC is going to want to give him a chance of getting ranked. I say Kopylov, they're on great schedules with each other. I think they're going to Saudi in November as well. I think like November 20 something, they're going to Saudi, November 23rd maybe. I say you do Shara Magomedov versus Roman Kopylov for the number 15 ranked spot. Screw it. Like, you want to give Shara this opportunity. He's only going to be fighting in that area of the world or like Europe. I say you make that fight. Kopylov's got to fight down, dude. He's just got to. This is the one. In my opinion, this is the one. It's Shara Magomedov versus Roman Kopylov. They're going to want to give Shara this opportunity, so I say do it. It's a strikers matchup. It's one that I want to see before we never get it. So, say Shara versus Roman Kopylov, main card of the fight night in Saudi Arabia that they do in November. So, if Shara can make that in time, because I know his nose is fucked up, but he's usually pretty active. He's a tough guy, so I say that's the fight to make. Asu Almabayev got a good win by grappling Jose Ochoa. It wasn't overly entertaining, but he did win it. Out-grappled Jose Ochoa. I say Kaya Sakura. I think that Kaya Sakura is going to beat Tim Elliott, and I think he's going to be looking to go up in the rankings. I don't think Asu Almabayev did himself any favors with that performance. So I say the Kaya Sakura matchup is the one to make. It's kind of like getting them an El Cap one back. A really good striker with not the best grappling, but he's still a very solid fighter. He's a bigger name. And they got to go to Japan at some point. I think this is a good matchup to make. Asu Almabayev, Kaya Sakura, fight night. If you can go to Japan sometime in November, that'd be sick. If you can go to anywhere on the western side, right? I think it's going to make sense. And it's not like Almabayev took too much damage if they want to end up going to Perth. And I don't think that Kaya Sakura is going to take a lot of damage if they end up going to Perth. So could put that in the main card of Perth. Just something to keep your eyes out open for. Jose Ochoa lost, didn't take much damage. I say Ode Osborne. This is a good prelim for MSG. Ode Osborne, Jose Ochoa, gives Jose Ochoa a little bit of an easier matchup to kind of come back into. He beat Cody Durden. He lost to Loner Kavanaugh, and then he had a close fight but lost to Asu Almabayev here. I think it was closer than the scorecards read, honestly, but it is what it is. I think this is a good matchup for him to bounce back and get a win against. If he can turn around in 4 months, fight Ode Osborne on the prelims of MSG, helps build his name a little bit against a guy with a bigger name. Like, Ode Osborne's not this stud, but, like, he's got a bigger name. He's coming off a knockout win. And it's just going to bring more attention to Jose Ochoa. It's going to be a stylistic matchup that I think he likes, so I say Ode Osborne, Jose Ochoa, prelims of MSG. And Bogdan Guskov. It's next for Bogdan Guskov. I think Jan Blachowicz. I think you could do a Jamal Hill fight. I think Jamal Hill's going to want to take a little bit more time off than a lot of people are thinking here. I'm seeing a lot of the Jamal Hill matchups. I think Hill's going to take off until 2026. I think he's going to take that time off, and I think Bogdan Guskov can turn around by the end of the year. I think Jan Blachowicz is going to be itching for a fight, considering he almost beat Carlos Ulberg. I think this is a great matchup. It's a way to build Bogdan Guskov's name against a really big name. A bigger name in light heavyweight, a former champion. And it's a approachable matchup for Blachowicz because it's like, all right, this guy likes to go out there and scrap and, I want to fight. I'm 42 years old or some shit. Like, I think Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov is a great fight to make. This is a great main card of a fight night type fight. If you can make this the feature fight of when they go to Saudi Arabia, if you can make this the feature fight of... Honestly, you can make this the main card opener of Abu Dhabi pay-per-view. You really could. Blachowicz versus... I know they have so many heavy guys on that card. They have 2 heavyweights. They have a light heavyweight. They're probably going to want lighter weight classes on there, so maybe make this the Or put Rakic on the fucking prelims, dude. Like, Rakic versus who is the fight, dude? I forget. It's Mirzakhanov. Do Rakic Mirzakhanov as the prelim headliner, and then do this as, like, a main card opener. Bogdan Guskov, Jan Blachowicz. Or you can put this as, you can make this the fucking main event of a fight night, honestly, in front of a crowd, and then stack the card under it. I'm cool with that. Maybe we do that. Bogdan Guskov, Jan Blachowicz, 5-round main event in front of a crowd, fight night, sometime in October or November. I think it's good. I think Blachowicz is ready to fight again. He didn't take much damage against Olberg, and then Guskov didn't take much against Krylov. Krylov I'm going to match up to here because he's ranked. I say Alonzo Menafield. I think he needs time off, though. I think he waits until January of 25. Take 6 months. Get the chin healed up. You've been starched twice in a row. And fight an easier name, right? Alonzo Menafield's got a little bit of a name, right? He's been ranked for a long time. He's been very, very active. Coming off a win against Umar Sy. I say do Alonzo Menafield versus Nikita Krylov. First pay-per-view of January, prelims. Prelim headliner of the first pay-per-view in January, which will be UFC 320. It'll be 324. I like it. UFC 324, Nikita Krylov, Alonzo Menafield prelim headliner, something like that. I think it makes sense. Bryce Mitchell, great win over Said Nurmagomedov. I think he deserves a jump in the rankings. I say Kyler Phillips, a guy that lost last weekend. This fight makes sense to me. Phillips has got to defend his ranking spot, losing 2 in a row to ranked guys. He's only beaten Pedro Munoz of recently. I say Bryce Mitchell deserves that spot. Let's see how he does. I think he can be a ranked bantamweight. I think he's really big for the division. And I think this will be a pretty good fight. It's going to be interesting, too, because Bryce Mitchell's going to look at him and be like, dude, I don't know if I want to fight this guy. He looks like Jesus. But we know he's not, because he's not. Bryce Mitchell's the man, bro. I say Bryce Mitchell versus Kyler Phillips. Give him a chance at the rankings, bro. This feels like a good fight. It does. And I know we want Bryce Mitchell on a press conference, but maybe do this one on a fight night. Feature fight, Kyler Phillips, Bryce Mitchell, maybe main card opener, Bryce Mitchell, Kyler Phillips. I think it's a great one to make. Maybe MSG prelims? I don't know. Make this happen before the end of the year. I'm okay with December, too. If you do a December pay-per-view, maybe you do Bryce Mitchell versus, not like a Monta. Maybe you do Bryce Mitchell versus Cejudo, honestly, too, as a main card opener for the December pay-per-view. I think there'd be shit talk. I think it'd be good. Muslim Salikov got a great knockout win over Carlos Leal, one of the upsets of the card. And I called the Davy Grant one, which is sick, which we'll talk in a second. Chidi and Jokuani, both guys had fights with it like around a minute last time. Chidi and Jokuani didn't take much damage. He just got choked out. Not cold, but he tapped out. Similar spots in the rankings, similar timeline. Both probably looking to turn around pretty quickly. I say prelims of Abu Dhabi in October. Muslim Salikov versus Chidi and Jokuani. Make it happen. Davy Grant, great win. I think he's one more win from the rankings. I say give him Said Nurmagomedov. I think this would be a very intriguing fight. I do. I think Davy Grant's a hard guy to chin. Can't remember the last time he's been chinned. I don't know if he's been chinned. He's been subbed. He's been decisioned. I don't know if he's been chinned. I say... Dude, they're both good strikers. Like, Davy Grant's very crafty, and Said Nurmagomedov's fast twitch, quick, powerful, good kicks. I think this would be a good fight for the prelims of Abu Dhabi, but then again, Davy Grant will probably get robbed if it's on prelims of Abu Dhabi in October. But you know what? Make it happen. Davy Grant, Said Nurmagomedov, prelims of Abu Dhabi in October. Maybe you do this on the prelims of MSG. I don't know. Make this happen before the end of the year. I think this is a great fight to make. Davy Grant, Said Nurmagomedov's got to be made. And then Damone Blackshear lost to Davy Grant. Davy Grant just... That's one of the best picks I've made all year. Felipe Lima, also coming off a loss, but against good competition in Peyton Talbot. Could be an interesting fight. And we'll see where it ends up. I say do that one before the end of the year as well. Prelims of the December pay-per-view. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Let me know if you got better matchups to make.